Alright, finally found a stand, so hopefully this will help. So, for this question, we're not trying to find the limit, right? We're trying to find the tangent line to f of x is equal to 1 over x at x equals 3. So, what we do here, um, something very, very, very important to remember, and they taught us this in class, was to um, remember this formula right here: f of x plus h minus f of x over h. This is this is in order to find uh, the slope of the tangent line, not the tangent line, but just the slope of the tangent line. So I would recommend like writing this down somewhere or in your notes. This is like a very important thing to remember. Okay, so and then we got to memorize this for the test. So just remember to memorize this. Just kind of know this by heart. Okay, so this is the slope. How to find the tangent line slope, not the tangent line itself, but the slope. So we got this right. So we know this, and they gave us this. 1 over x is f of x, right? And x is equal to 3. Alright, so what we could do is just plug in what they've given us. So we've got let's plug in 3 first. Okay, so instead of f of x is f of 3 plus h minus f of 3, right? They also gave us f of x, which is 1 over x. So we've got x right here. So what we could do is also plug in f, which would just be 1 over 3 plus h minus 1 over 3. See? Because we have 1 over x. 1 over 3 plus h. 1 over x, 1 over 3. So, and remember the minus sign. It's right there. All over h. Alright. Let's move this over here. Alright. So, now we could just solve for the slope, alright? This is just really, it's just a lot of algebra, so, just bear with me. I'm also not that great at this stuff, but just bear with me. So we have 1 over 3 plus h and minus 1 over 3, right? But we could also have the denominators be the same as well if we wanted to. How do we do that? Well, we can easily multiply by 3 over 3, and then we could also multiply 3 plus h. That's how we get the same denominators down here. This would just make everything a lot more easier. So let's do that. So 3 plus h times 3 down here would just be 3 times 3 plus h, right? Easy enough. And then, across as well, 1 times 3 is just 3, right? How about this side? So 1 times 3 plus h is just 1 times 3 plus h. All right, not really much we could do right now with this, but we'll get to that later. And then 3 times 3 plus h is also 3 times 3 plus h. Same denominator down here, same thing. So we got that down. And then we could also just say that like anything times 1, it just stays the same as well. So we could just get rid of that 1 as well. So now that we have the same denominators, we could also just put this together as one single fraction instead of just two separate fractions, which we don't want. It just looks ugly, and yeah. So 3 minus 3 plus h, right? And then since this is the same denominator, yeah, still same denominator down here. All right. So then we just do some simple algebra and stuff. So what we can do here, since this is a negative, meaning this is really negative 3, and this is really plus negative h, we could just do 3 minus 3 plus negative h, which is just saying negative h. I don't know. So this is just 0, and then we're just left up here with negative h. What about the denominator, though? I mean, it looks like we can simplify this. So what we can do is we could distribute 3 times 3, and then plus 3 times h. So what this becomes, we said that this was equal to just negative h, since we got rid of the 3's right here, since they both canceled out or whatever, it became 0. This is just negative h, and then this becomes 3 times 3 is 9. Oh, sorry. 3 times 3 is, oops, sorry. 3 times 3 is 9. And then 3 times h is just 3 times h, you know? So that's what we have down here. Negative h, 9 plus 3h, right? Okay. So then we have to remember that this whole thing we've been working on has just been this top half. So let's not forget the denominator. There's an h here. Remember this, we were working on this part up here this whole time. So now that we kind of simplified this whole thing, we got this, right? Now let's add this h right over here all the way down to this whole fraction. So we're practically, at this point, we're just dividing a fraction with h. We're dividing a fraction by h. But we also know we could write h as h over 1, right? Here. So basically what we're doing here is just dividing fractions. And what we can remember is the way to divide fractions is by keeping this first fraction, changing the division into multiplication, and then flipping h over 1 as 1 over h, okay? So let's do that. So the first thing was keeping the first fraction, so here it is, and then instead of dividing, we're going to be multiplying, and then we flipped this into 1 over h, right? So let's just do that. And you know what we see here is that we have an h here and an h here, so we don't even have to cross multiply if we, to save us time. We could also just cancel these out. So we would just have negative 1 over 9 plus 3h. Okay, so now we see this. This looks a lot better, and we're now able to plug in h. So what we do now is, so we see, because the limit is as h approaches 0, right? Sorry, let's move this. Okay. So if we we plug in 0 for h, and anything times 0 is just 0. So 3 times 0 is just 0. So we're left with negative 1 over 9. Negative 1 over 9, right? All right. Then finally, since now we have, this is the slope, right? Not the tangent line, but just the tangent slope. But they want us to find the tangent line. So we use the slope that we found to finally find everything else. So we know that this is how to find the line of a line, the line formula, right? So what we're missing is this, because we have everything else. Y is also f of x. And they gave us f of x right here, right? And then m is a slope, which we just found out, which was negative 1 over 9. And then x is also given in the problem. X equals 3, right? So all we have to find is b. All that's left to find is b. So we could plug in everything else. So we got 1 over 3 equals negative 1, this is 1 over 3 because, well, f of x is also y, but we have 1 over x. So what goes in x? Well, they gave us x. X equals 3. So y equals 1 over 3, right? So going back to our problem, 1 over 3 equals negative 1 over 9 times 3, because that's x, plus b. Then we just do some simple algebra, not that hard. Just let's try to combine these first, just so everything's easier. which we could just rewrite this as 3 over 1. See, 3 over 1. Multiply these, across. It gives us negative 3 over 9. And let's remember to bring this down so we know what's going on. And then this as well, plus b. Then we want to get b by itself, right? So this is a negative fraction, so we could just add. So let's add this on both sides. So this doesn't exist on this side anymore, so it's just b over here. And then we just add 3 over 9 to 1 over 3, which is right here. This is a 1 over 3, by the way. I don't know if you can see that clearly, but that's 1 over 3. All right. Let me do that. We don't have the same denominators here, so we want to do that. We have 9 here, so what we could do is just multiply this both on top and bottom by 3 to get 9 down here. So 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3, meaning we do 3 over 9 plus 3 over 9, which equals 6 over 9. And then simplifying this, we know that this is 3 over 2. So that means that the tangent line for this problem would be y equals negative 1 over 9 x plus 2 over 3.